The most highlighted like quote for this is everybody wants to be great until it's time to do what greatness requires. And that's a big theme in this book about like the process versus the outcome. And so let's kind of dive into our discussion here, and we'll start off with you, John. But John, can you talk about how that quote fits in with your coaching philosophy?
Well, you guys could probably talk better about this than me, but I'll do it in coach talk. Is student athletes today are very entitled, and they just want it now. And their whole world is instant. It's fast. It's their way they communicate is fast. Their attention spans are really short. So the thing that really caught me that applies to your quote, and it's the title, Chop Wood, Carry Water. And the story is about this guy that wants to be a samurai archer. But when he goes to this place in Japan to study, all they have him do is chop wood and carry water. So the biggest message that we wanted to send to our team was, we don't care if you're an All-American or you're just a little walk-on. Everybody's got to chop wood and carry water to be great. And you have to do it every day. And there's no way around it. And so that's where it starts. And I think with applying to your quote, everybody says they want to be an All-American, they want to do this, they want to do that. But are they willing to pay the price? And I think it starts with the fundamentals, the day-to-day, working on all the things to be great every day. And of course, in this camp where this archer is, he has to do that every day. That's all he does is chop wood and carry water. And he doesn't understand, how am I going to become a great archer if all I do is chop wood and carry water? And so, and of course, the story takes off from there, and the book explains why.
John, I'm wondering how that applies to coaching. Because I think what you describe of athletes bleeds over into the sport world in general. I think we expect everything faster and more instantaneous than coaches were given permission to work on things like beat on their craft, right? He talks a lot in the book about beating on your craft. And I think that coaches 20, 30 years ago were given more permission to beat on their craft and develop a culture and build a program. And I think there's less patience in the sport world around that now. I'm curious how that applies, what you're talking about with your team applies to coaching as well, in the coaching profession.
Well, I think you're right. So when I grew up in sports, we worked on fundamentals. We worked on what it means to be a great player, great team all the time. And the coaches pounded that into us. And then when I came to Nebraska as an assistant coach, I would go watch Nebraska football. Same thing. It was the same thing every day, over and over and over. And as a coach, I love routine and I love doing the same things. I love working on fundamentals and breaking things down. And, but again, student athletes today, they're like, why do we have to do this? Let's just go play. Or, we don't need to do all this stuff every day. So it's a real battle. And so in coaching for me is trying to get them to understand. And I think one of the early chapters in that book, this is a great analogy for all of us. They have him build a house, but they don't tell him who the house is for. So he builds a house, but he kind of goes half-ass on it because he just wants to get through it because he wants to be an archer. And sure enough, they give him the house. So we all have to build our own house, and you better be sure you want to do a great job in building that house, because we know if you don't build a great foundation and do it right, you won't have a great house, and it'll eventually cost you. And so again, it's such a mindset thing. It's ingrained in me, but in our student athletes, we have to ingrain it in them, and it's not easy.